All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Chads, we are back. We are back with another Twitch interview. Last time you guys got a chance to see me go ahead and interview Troy Anthony, who design suits and whatnot. And then I was very conscious about making sure that this month I make sure I only interview black classy people. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. You know what I mean? So, I got on the stream today. We've got Jalen Rashid Coleman. I don't know. So a little backstory behind Rashid is I don't know. We were playing pool one day and I think he was impersonating just a different. He was doing different accents. He was doing like a Schwarzenegger accent and whatnot. And then he did. I think it was a Middle Eastern accent. And I was like, oh, Rashid. I don't know where that name came from, but we're back at it. I got Jalen here. Jalen is a dear friend of mine, a film director, connoisseur of sorts. He's an amazing man. And I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself in a minute. But as always, remember, my moderator, shout out to my moderator, Titan, who's behind the scenes, dropping the commands and helping out with behind the scenes chat. So shout out to him, and he'll drop in the chat, the Discord, the Twitter. He'll drop in Jalen's IG as well as some other stuff, towards the end of the stream. So with that being said, Jalen, I said you're a film director, but tell us a little bit about that. So tell us about yourself.
I'm actually a retired stripper. I don't know where he has this film director thing from. I'm a film director. I'm a writer.
That's why he's got beef with game.
That's why. And like Soulja Boy said, I was the first stripper entertainer. Writer, director. Those are the only two titles I feel comfortable with. Yeah. I've been making films since high school. Interviewer as well, media journalist. Those are the three titles that work.
Okay, I mean, sure. I mean, I think you're being a little humble. I think
kind of. I don't want to be the person that starts listing like, hey guys, I've done this and that, and
Yeah. So he's got an amazing eye for photography. Obviously for film, and that's his passion and whatnot. But when he gets behind the lens to do some photography, he captures some fire right there. So
thank you, sir. Him as well, in case the viewers don't know.
I'm all right.
He's really good, people.
So, all right. Well, let's jump in. We've got a good couple of questions, and I'm hoping, for anyone that's watching, feel free to drop on the chat and, just give yourself a shout out. Let us know where you're watching from. And if you want us to follow you, just drop in the chat like, hey, follow me, and like, I'm down. Fuck it. I don't know about Jalen. I don't know if he, I don't know if it's
thick.
I can't say that. I mean, I got this right here, so I can't necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not, ladies.
I'm retired. So it sounds like Jalen Rashid Coleman is single.
I am. Yeah, I'm not really. Well, I was saying I'm not really looking, but if you are thick, and not just thick, you have to be thick. Like it has to be pronounced that way. Yeah.
All right, that's cool. So let's jump into it. So 20-year-old virgin. All right. First and foremost, like, all right, let's talk about the elephant in the room and the fact that you've been, filming since high school, as you mentioned, right? I believe that your first film was actually with my cousin, who I didn't even know was my cousin at the time. But Haiti, who
she was in one of the first ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So Wax Snack in the chat said dummy thick. But anyway,
yeah, Wax Snack gets it.
There we go. So so I believe that one was about like love and that kind of stuff. So what I've kind of found in your films, albeit with like maybe one or two exceptions, was that the common thread is love. And when we and I'm assuming that we're talking about love in 20-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah, there's like a romance. Yeah, there's love in it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about. Well, tell us a little bit about the concept of 20-Year-Old Virgin. Like, where did that come from?
So I wanted to make another comedy. A lot of my films are usually, while dealing with love, can kind of be either dramatic or sad. In the recent years, I've been making comedy, and I've noticed that people, and whether it be film festivals or whatever the case is, seems to gravitate towards that more with my work. And I've kind of been enjoying writing comedy. So I wanted to make something that was also sort of a coming of age story. And I first thought, like, I had two separate ideas. I thought of the ideal virginity and how, as a male, if you lose your virginity at what is deemed a late time, then it's like, what's wrong with you, whatever the case is. It's a little different for women to a degree, but like if it's a guy, you're like, what's wrong with you? And then I also just thought of like, which is in the trailer, a hilarious scene of just a guy like going to town on himself and his whole family like bursting in on
Yeah.
him. So I was like, I should make something like the 20-year-old version. And which obviously, there's the 40-year-old version, so the premise does kind of come from that. But I didn't rewatch the movie before writing the film or making the film. I didn't want to I didn't want, aside from the premise, really, I don't want to have any real inspiration or any like ideals from the film. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and showcase a quick clip, and the clip is the breakfast scene. So I know we were gonna go with a different clip, but I think this one
Yeah,
is
no,
it
it's
makes
work.
a little
Yeah.
bit it makes a little more sense. The house is on fire now.
Yeah, I was
If
like, is that me or
if
you?
in
Or
case you
okay.
can hear the
Right.
alarm system,
This is the last Twitch stream ever, guys.
GoFundMe to build my new house.
Going out in flames. We're going out in flames. Yeah.
So to give context to the and don't worry about the beeping, that's going to be addressed in a minute. To give context to the breakfast, something happens before that. Kind of summarize, nothing in super detail, but summarize why is there this kind of like
Awkward.
weirdness around him.
Yeah. I can say that because we do have a teaser trailer out that reveals this. But yeah, he was going to town on himself the night before.
Please explain
And
what that means.
that
Going to
means he
town.
was choking his chicken. He was no, he was playing with his soldier. Yeah, he was masturbating, I guess would be the politically
Okay.
correct term. And not just, most of us have, done this. Some of us might have had people or a family member or somebody walk in. His entire family walked in, and it's his birthday. So they came in with the great idea that at midnight, let's like go in and like with balloons and cake and surprise him. And they were the ones that ended up being surprised because they caught him soaking his chicken. So I guess the clip we're about to see is the next morning when he sits at the breakfast table with his family.
All right. So let's go ahead and transition to that, and yeah, let's watch that.
Happy birthday. No, not that. Again, I've made your birthday pancakes if your hands are free.
Thanks, Mom. So, long night?
All right, now leave your brother alone. It's gonna be all right. Leave him alone.
I could have handed that to you.
No thanks. I saw what you did with those hands.
Look, I check my inventory every year for my birthday too, nephew. It's all right, man. It's all right.
You know what? I'll just eat at school.
So, any plans for your birthday today? 20 is a really big age.
Not really. 20 just means that I'm no longer a teenager, but not old enough to drink yet. Legally, anyway.
Hey, when's Jackie coming in?
She's not. Flight got canceled.
Oh, no. I miss Jackie. How long has it been since you've seen her?
6 months.
6 months. Oh, I have always thought the two of you just made the
Cutest couple. Yeah, right. Mom, you've been saying this since the 3rd grade, and we keep telling you we're just friends.
Well, Mom, he is actually in a relationship with his left hand.
Boy, Bobby, my goodness. Hey, Nick, I have to go into work early today, and your uncle's gonna drop Erica off at school before his job interview. Now, I know that it's your birthday, but can you please drop Bobby off at school?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you so much, sweetie. All right, you guys, I'm gone.
All right. So, there's a lot that happened in just one scene, right? So, break it down for us. Tell us a little bit about what's being said and what's not being said.
Right. So yeah, this the morning after being caught. So it's awkward for him. Obviously, it's also his birthday, which just makes it more awkward because this is how you're starting off your birthday. And his family's, kind of. It's that weird thing where you call the person, you don't want to make eye contact with them really either. You're kind of like, and then they're all reacting in kind of different ways. Like the mom is kind of like, that's her son, it's her baby. So she's kind of like a little disgusted. The brother's like, I'm loving this. I'm just going to keep teasing you. The sister's just like also disgusted. And the uncle's sort of like, hey, like, I get it. Like, it's okay. So
Okay.
that's what's happening. That scene is also mostly just to showcase also the different personalities that each family member has.
Okay. We get introduced to somebody. We get introduced to a key character in your film that doesn't show up for quite some time, but they're very key.
Yeah.
Who is
Through
that?
dialogue, right?
Yeah. It was introduced in the dialogue. So who was that was introduced, and why is that person super important? Without spoiler free, obviously.
That's his lovely best friend Jackie, played by the wonderful Malay, whose name is just Malay. It's like like Madonna, like just the right. Name. But yeah, she also gives one of my favorite performances in the film. The character is his best friend. I was supposed to be there for him on his birthday, but due to like cancellations with the flight and stuff, she's not. She informs him that she's not able to make it. So yeah. Obviously, she's in the film, so at some point, she's in. I'm not going to say what happens or whatever the case is, but she truly gives a great performance, and her chemistry with our lead actor Jabari, who plays Nick, was really fun and nice to watch.
Okay. Now, in a film like this, you need each character, each actor to bring their uniqueness while at the same time playing their part.
Yeah.
And obviously the film obviously centers around Nick, right? Being the 20-year-old virgin, right? Now he got caught, choking the chicken, right? Now it's a double kind of embarrassment, right? It's I got caught, and then at the same time now it's it's out there that I may not be sexually active, right? Especially at my age, it's kind of as you said earlier, it's like, what is wrong with you type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Why in particular? I'm assuming obviously you went through a number of different auditions and whatnot, and why in particular Nick, who I'm sorry, I actually didn't catch his name as the actor. Jabari. So why in particular Jabari? What did Jabari bring to the table, and what made you pick him?
Yeah. So I really hate auditioning people, especially like the virtual thing is kind of cool because then like you can reject the person and not like have to like just like if you're there and a person gives like a bad performance, I try to like obviously not like show it on my face, whatever the case is, but it's really like
you just go off camera.
Yeah, right. So I just don't like letting people down because some people are actually trying their absolute hardest. It could just be various reasons why I don't get the part. It just could be luck, whatever the case is. So we were casting. I cast Malay first because I worked with her before, and the mom and a few people. So we're like, okay, we need to cast like the lead, 20-year-old version. and people were sending in tapes, but it wasn't. They either didn't have the right look or their timing wasn't like working well. So in the film, the real funny characters are the brother and the uncle, right? And it's kind of like in Superbad, for example, like there's Jonah Hill, who's mostly the funny man, and then Michael Cera, right? And they call like Michael Cera's character would be considered the straight man, right? Like he works off of the funny man. But a good straight man will end up being just as funny. So Michael Cera in Superbad is just as funny as Jonah Hill, even though he's not like over, he's not the quote unquote funny guy. So I knew when I got the audition tape for Jabari, it was kind of just somewhat funny, just like the tape he sent in. There wasn't any like funny lines on his behalf, but I'm all like, this is like, he was charming. It was humorous. He came off in this like awkward way too, which is how the character is supposed to be. So it just really worked out. His tape as well. And then I'm also big on like being able to work with the person as well. So because I'm at this stage where I'm still an independent filmmaker, the benefit of that is I really get to choose who I want to work with, right? So if we're going to be working on this film for a few months from rehearsal to shooting, I want to make sure I like the person or we have a good vibe, whatever the case is, right? So once we spoke and met up, his vibe was really cool. We got along really well. I said, okay, you're someone that I would like to work with in this capacity. So,
Okay. So he kind of gave you this like vibe of, and I guess the best way I can explain it is like Steve Carell, like Rainn Wilson, Rainn Wilson, like the cast of The Office, like the cast of The 40-Year-Old Virgin, like the cast of like you said, Superbad and Hangover and shit, right? So he kind of gave you that vibe, and that's exactly what you were looking for.
He actually, that's what I forgot. He actually, when he sent in I don't know if he sent in a tape or he just like applied. He applied at first to be the brother.
Okay.
And I was like, but literally as soon as I saw his profile, like the picture, like his headshot, I was all like, oh no, he looks like he would be like, not that he looks like he would
Jabari out here.
Looks like a 20-year-old version. No, he just looked like, this is like our Nick or whatever, right? So I immediately reached out and was like, hey, I know you applied for Bobby the brother, but like, could you read for this character? And he was up for it. And I think once we met up, he kind of talked about he's trying to break, because he has a certain look. He's versatile, but he has a certain look, and he wanted to go against that and kind of be like because the brother is somewhat the playboy, like the player, the player.
Yeah, which shows later on in the film and what he does to kind of help him out to kind of break that virginity. I mean, albeit it kind of ends up in a fail, and it's funny. I mean, it's ridiculous.
That's probably my favorite scene too.
It's ridiculous. So apologies for the dog. The dog is untrained and oh my God. So all right. Well, speaking of the brother and the uncle, right? Both of these characters kind of brought in this uniqueness that was relatable. It was when I saw them on screen, I was like, yo, I know these people. Right. I don't know the actors, but I know the characters. Right. And I guess in a sense, what was the creation or what was the process when creating these two characters in particular? And like what inspired, what elements did you drive from to kind of build out those characters?
Definitely. So with the brother, who's played by Trent Jones, the family in whole, for the most part, they're loosely inspired by the family and Everybody Hates Chris. So I don't know if did you ever watch?
Yeah, I've watched a couple. Yeah, I've watched.
So like the younger brother in there was taller. He kind of looked older, and he was like, he had more girls than Chris and his brother, right? Even though Chris was the older one. So when I was looking so that was inspiration for writing. When I was looking to cast, somebody actually sent in a tape that was pretty good. They looked more older than I wanted, so that was kind of a hesitation. But I was like, maybe we can work around this if he shaves, whatever the case is, right? So going back to wanting to work with people that I vibe with, once we got on the phone and started speaking, the vibe, I don't know, there was something about him that just wasn't like really clicking. Or I was like, I don't know if I want to be, around this person. Not saying the person was like an a-hole or like a bad person. It was just something, off. And I kind of go with my gut feeling. So I was like, so I was thinking about my friend Trent, and I met Trent when I was 15. Actually, we were in this like filmmaking program, and we met then and like shot some like films as like teenagers, whatever the case is. Hadn't seen him in years. I reached out, said, "Hey, I have this script. I think it'd be perfect for this role if you're willing." And I know he's a stand-up comedian as well, so I was like, that'll be great for improv. I'm sure he'll have some funny stuff to do. And he read it, and he loved it. And the interesting thing with him was we were having rehearsals, and he wasn't able to make a lot because he lived in Sherman Oaks, somewhere far. And his car broke. He was going, his car broke down. He was kind of going through a lot. So he was, which I was understanding of, right? I was okay. We'll figure it out. But I was kind of worried in terms of, as we were doing rehearsals with everybody else, all their chemistry was working really well. So I was like, I hope when he comes over and like, that the chemistry will work well. So we were able to do, I think 1 or 2 rehearsals before shooting. Him and Jabari met up, and I was there, and immediately they got along, and it was playful, and I was like, this is great. And it worked, yeah, because he also, while he's playing the younger brother, he looks like kind of older. I think he is older in real life, actually. So yeah, and then he brought so much like improv to it, which was beautiful. Like the amount of stuff that's, most of the funny lines probably just him. Especially the moment there's like I guess a montage of him reacting to the news that his brother is a virgin, and most of that was him. So it would be like the line would just be him reacting, and then I was like, whatever I think I would occasionally throw out stuff, but it was mostly him, and he did great. And the uncle, played by Cliff Taylor, so the character actually was a dad at first, right? It was just a traditional mom and dad.
Okay.
But the dad wasn't like, in the script, the dad wasn't funny at first, right? Okay. And I couldn't find, that was the last person we couldn't find. I was like, why can't we find a damn like dad, right? Everybody that's sent in the tape just wasn't, it just didn't, they looked like they either didn't look like he could be the dad, or the tape just wasn't good, right? So I said, okay, I need to make the guy funny too, or like more interesting. And I thought of Cliff, and I called him, and he was like, when he read the script, I think at first the dad was like 45 or something, and Cliff isn't that age. He's like, I'm kind of offended that you're saying that I could be 45 or whatever. But he liked the script and he was down. But as soon as we got off the phone, I was like, I could just make him an uncle. Like and then he gives off like uncle vibes. Like if you meet Cliff in real life, he's not as wild as the character, but he's still pretty wild, right? And he's also a stand-up comedian, so this would be perfect. So once we got on set, a lot of it was improv. Like there was moments, I think, in the script where I was like, there's a scene where they're leaving the breakfast table, and in the script, I think I put like, hey, when you get up, I want you to say something like, I was like, this example isn't funny, so I want, just so you can see where my head is. I was like, I want you to say something like, oh, I have an interview at McDonald's or something, right? And I was all like, that's not funny, but can you somehow think of something like, something funny? And he just got up and was like, come on, interview a day keeps my PO away. And I'm like, and he kept saying different stuff like every take. And it was like, what? So he kept, that stuff that you can't like, that I mean, you can write, but like the actors,
wow. So you gave a lot of creative freedom there. Like you were very open to what how that improv played a role into the film.
Yeah, because if it's not working, then it's like, they're like a moment or two, or if they try something and if it didn't really work, then I'm like, oh, that one's not, working, whatever the case is. And they understood, they agreed, and let's, keep trying different stuff. So I think being open to, which I think is one of the greatest gifts a director can have, being open to collaboration and not thinking that like your way or like the script you wrote or whoever wrote is like final, like, try to find stuff in between that can enhance it. So
okay, so real quick, just on the chat, I saw that during the clip that we showed, Wax Snack said, wow, that was really good, and gave you a lot of thumbs up. So shout out to you. I mean, and I will attest. I will attest, I've been blessed to be able to see your films and the progression of them.
Yeah.
And there has been an evolution both in as far as the storyline that's behind it, as well as the craft in regards to the quality of the film. So now that we're kind of on that tangent, I know this is like a question that wasn't put on the script that we were talking about that we prepped, but as you've kind of, one of the things that I've been able to see, like I said, is your growth as a film director, your growth as a screenwriter. What would you say if I, for example, was a 15-year-old black boy, witnessing someone
Where
being
you saying
able
you're
to,
not a 15-year-old black boy?
I'm not a 15-year, I'm 17. I'm
Oh,
17.
gotcha. Okay.
So,
Yeah, you're looking at him. Sorry.
thank you. Yeah, it's the beard. I
Right,
trimmed
that's
it
what
today.
is. There you
So,
go.
what would you say is like that one thing, or not one thing, but what have you learned over the years that have actually allowed you to build out that craft, to be able to be a little more higher in quality and a little more in that sense, like, I don't want to say perfection, but progressive
Yeah.
in regards to your films?
Yeah, definitely. I think just finding your voice, so like when I and there, like you mentioned, there's a theme mostly to all my films that's consistent, whether it be love or whatever the case is. But like the older I get, the more I'm just finding my voice. So at 15, or when you're starting off, especially at that age, it's mostly kind of like, oh, like you hear that these other filmmakers are great, like the Spielbergs and the Scorseses and the Finchers and all this stuff. So you're kind of like, you don't really have a voice yet because you're still like this teenager, you're still trying to discover yourself, right? So a lot of your work is also that way as well. But then, yeah, I think I'm at a point where I'm being more comfortable with my voice and what I want to say. So like, like I love filmmakers like Christopher Nolan, who did like Inception and Interstellar and stuff like that. And every time he's releasing a movie, I absolutely love it. I think I'm at a point where like I would, I don't know if I would make an Interstellar or if I want to. You get me? It's kind of like finding your lane to a degree and not saying like not putting yourself in a box necessarily, because like I'm making these comedy films right now, but the next thing I might do might be a drama, whatever the case is. But just kind of being comfortable in your own voice and knowing like if I do want to just keep making comedy films, then that's me and that's my voice and that's what I want to make. And in terms of kind of the craft side, just the older you get, the more you kind of or at least for me rather, the more I wanted to start perfecting stuff. So like with this film, for example, I was like, on a technical level, I want this to be the best film I've done technically in terms of like production, right? So in previous films, like if there was like an issue with like, oh, the sound in the scene wasn't like great, or like the lighting or here wasn't great, I was like, I really want this to be like, I want people to say, wow, he really like stepped up, like he really evolved. So I hired a DP that I've never really worked with a real DP, like a real cinematographer. You get me? Like someone that studies it. That's like I'm a cinematographer, right? Because I was kind of always nervous about it, and I found this guy named David Cherry, phenomenal DP. I found this short film he did on YouTube. I just randomly came across it. It was a great short film. It's called Hermanos, I believe. But the cinematography immediately captured me, right? And I was like, wait a minute, like I haven't been this impressed by like the cinematography in the film in a while. So I found him on Instagram. I followed him, he followed me back. A few months later, I wanted to reach out, but I was nervous. I was like, I hope he's willing to work with me. I said, hey, I have the script. I don't know if you'd be willing to work on it with me. And he read it and he enjoyed it. And yeah, working with him was just it was just so cool. Like he was really like, I never really got to work with the DP where it's collaborative, where like we're both kind of bouncing ideas off each other. He was like, oh, what if we shoot it this way? Or what if we shoot it that way? And then I'm like, oh, and then we could do this and that. You get me? And I think what the biggest thing I could tell like a 15-year-old or anyone starting off, work with people that care about the project. Even if you're paying them, whatever the case is, if you can find people that you're paying and they also care, it makes everything so much better. Because even the editor that worked on this, Joseph Lisa and Chris Scher, everybody was paid, so they genuinely care. The editor went above and beyond.
Can I
did stuff.
Can I just say, hold on. I just gotta like. There's this like Hollywood moment right now, and I'm just like thinking like 20 years from now,
Yeah,
like you're dropping names in an interview right now,
yeah,
like this person and this person,
yeah,
and that's such a director thing to do, but it shows the level of like just growth.
yeah.
I have to
Thank you.
celebrate it. I'm sorry. So, but
No,
continue.
thank you. Yeah, and that I just want to shout out I want to shout out to people just because I don't nobody the movie wouldn't be as good as it is or be getting the love that it's getting without like every single actor and every single crew member that worked on it. So the like the editors, they went above and beyond when it came to this. Like he was sending me stuff and ideals that like I was like, oh my god, that's great. Or if I had an idea, like I could near the end of the film when something
Mm-hmm.
happens and then it
Mm-hmm.
cuts to a series of clips to show
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. That was like I thought of that ideal, but he made it so much better than like what I even envisioned, right? And
Mm.
even like to the end credits, right? Like I'm used to having just like if it's the end, put the credits up, just put everybody's names there. He did like a whole like graphic thing for like all the leads. I'm like, yo, like this is amazing, like, and because he genuinely was like, hey, this is a real like this is funny. I like this film, and I want to I want to help. So he did the poster and everything. So he was really like real easy to work with. This was just the easiest to a degree, the easiest film I've done, at least in terms of like when we were on set shooting,
Mm-hmm.
everything went pretty smoothly and everybody was laughing, having fun. There's a lot of moments where Jabari was like Jabari was the main person that was breaking because he had scenes with like when he had scenes with the brother or the brother was like, and then with the uncle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We were back behind the camera trying not to laugh, but like he really like couldn't like hold it and we had to like do a lot of takes, which worked out. But yeah, definitely work with people that care about the project.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So, as with every job, every
Mhm.
career, everything you do, every gig, right? We have
Yeah.
our amazing days, right? It's just, what would you say was, on set? What was that one day that was just like, wow, everything was just pristine, perfect. Everybody was on point. You were
Yeah.
on point. It was like fire was coming down from the heavens and lighting you guys up. Like what was going on? What day
So
was
we
that?
the actual production of the film was 2 days, but the first day was the day we shot all the interior house stuff in terms of like him getting caught, and then the breakfast
Mm-hmm.
scene, and the final scene at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So uh, so the scene with him and Jackie Malay, they're like we were all some of us were in the room, some people were behind the monitor, and there was just a moment where I don't know if it was the first take or second take where everything just came together. Where the DP was like on his shit, the actors were on their shit, and there was like a moment where like he's like pushing in on them, and like it was like just beautiful. Where I'm like, am I the only one feeling this? And then cut, and then like my producer was like, oh my god. Then like the people behind the monitor ran in and was like, oh my god, that was great. And the DP was like, yo, like so we all just were like that like I was like, this take is gonna be the take we definitely use, and it is. So that was the moment we were like, this is great.
Okay. Retrospectively, what was a tough day? What was, in regards to like building out this project from the very
Yeah.
beginning up until, kind of end production, final cut, what was that tough day like?
Uh, so the shooting was pretty smooth. There wasn't any real, problems for the or nothing that was alarming. Everything was fairly smooth. It was kind of there was moments during like rehearsal, or at least the first rehearsal, where you're like, I don't know if like, because we're still sorting stuff out and trying it. So if you hear like the first like, whenever I hear the first table read, there's moments where I'm like, oh, that's funny, and there's other moments where I'm like, this is absolutely terrible. And not the actors. It's like me. I'm like, oh, this is like a terrible, script or whatever. But I have to remember, okay, it's a table read. They don't have any specific directions yet. Because when we first do a table read, I'm not giving anyone any direction yet.
Mm-hmm.
Just read it how you think, and then I want to see what you're thinking. And then if you're like way off course, then I'm gonna like steer you this way. But I want to
Mm-hmm.
hear what you're saying. And it was better than most first tables. It was like I was okay. We have something, but it was still a little nervous. And also the first cut of almost any film is always fucking like hard to look at for the most part, just because it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's more so like an assembly cut, so it's like just
Mm-hmm.
putting the stuff in order for the most part, and so it's like there's stuff that's kind of not supposed to be there that you know is going to be removed or fixed, like, but you're kind of just looking at it like, you know, because then you think about like you just for me like I put all this money in it and these people's time and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and again it wasn't a bad first cut, it was just like this is the first cut though, so I'm like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope you know it comes together, and it did. So
Oh, okay, okay, cool, cool. So one of the things that we are starting to see, I mean, well, and I don't want to say we're starting to see because it has been prevalent in film and media, but I
yeah,
think now it's becoming more of things that are being explored, and it's in particular like these multiverses, right?
oh
And you know, obviously this isn't like some kind of action
shout out to Dr.
movie or
Shane.
whatever, but you know, for all we know, The Office could exist in the same universe as Parks and Rec, right? So,
Yeah,
um, so you know, with this being said, kind of this multiverse concept or this multiverse idea, right, or even just universal idea, do you
yeah.
foresee that this film, just the way that it's being received, do you foresee it becoming part of a bigger vision or part of a bigger project?
Yeah, so our we have a few possibilities of goals with the film. Yeah, me and the producer were talking about it. So one aspect that we want to do with it is actually make it a series. Try to make
Okay.
it a TV series. So that's how we're currently trying to go out and pitch it. And we're kind of relating it to sort of like Jane the Virgin, because you know the
Mm,
concept of like, well, if you lose the virginity, then like is that the end of it? But shows like Jane the Virgin where she loses her virginity eventually, and not like super later. I think it was
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
pretty early on, but kept the show going because it's not just about this person losing their virginity. It's about you know more to it, and ultimately this is kind of like a coming of age story. So we do
mm,
have like I have like loose ideals about it being a series and going on. We flesh out some of the other characters, like the brother, and also you kind of keep the theme of because the aspect of the film is somewhat toxic masculinity, and keeping the aspect of people's perceptions of virginity and sex and stuff like that, while also showing all the characters for the most part growing. Like we'll go deeper into the uncle because I love when there's characters that are like funny and people are just they're just the funny people, but then showing like okay, hey, they have this going on in their life, and you're like, oh,
mm.
that's pretty deep. So yeah, our ultimate goal is to make it a series. If not, we do have a feature film merge idea of it that we have too. So
So you just took the words right out of my mouth for the next question, and the next question is like the idea is that like excuse me that majority of the films, I don't know if there's ever been a one film that doesn't kind of carry underlying tones and messages.
yeah,
Maybe some random French movie or something, I don't know,
not
but
really.
but for the most part every film kind of has this like underlying tone and message that the
Mhm.
directors kind of want to push onward, you know. I mean, look
Yeah,
at the MCU, it's like, you know, the heroes always prevail, you know. Look at
unless they're
recent,
against Thanos, but yeah,
yeah, right. Look at like Matrix, where it's like unhinging yourself from the Matrix, from the system,
yeah,
and having you kind of fight these kind of, you know, ideals that are constructed on you, right?
mhm,
Now, this film in particular, you actually kind of started talking a little bit about the underlying tones and the messaging in the
yeah.
film. You kind of did it in the beginning, and here you are kind of talking about it. So, what would you say it was your intended tone that you wanted to deliver? Um, and yeah, tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, I think ultimately it, like I said, it's a coming of age film, and also just about kind of accepting yourself no matter what. So, you know, like his characters, like as we see throughout the film, he's kind of down on himself. He's like, I'm 20, I'm a virgin, I'm a loser, and I always like writing characters that either are losers, think they're losers, or the world thinks they're a loser, right? Just because, at least for me, I don't always feel like you know like a winner or something. You know, I like characters
Mm-hmm.
that are underdogs. So the main thing, the main tone, the main theme that we're trying to get across was kind of acceptance, to accept yourself. And
Mm.
everybody's journey is different, and the ideal of being a male and being a virgin at a certain age, that the idea of that being like a bad thing or a stigma, when
Mm-hmm.
it should be like, hey, whatever age you decided to lose it or whenever it happened for you, that's when it happened. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I really want to get across with the film.
Okay. All right. You also touched on another underlying tone, which was the toxic masculinity,
Yeah.
in particular. And I know it wasn't like really pushed on
Mhm.
in the film directly, but I think you kind of talked about it in an kind of roundabout way. And
Yeah.
tell us a little more about that.
Yeah, just kind of how like how the brother and the uncle, who are the two other male characters in the film, they're like, hey, uncle's like, at some point, uncle gives him a condom. Like the
Mm-hmm.
brother's like, "What, you a virgin? Like, we got to get you some." Like, instead of the brother being like, um, "Oh, it's okay," or whatever the case is, he's like, "Nah, nah, like we got to get you like, some tonight type thing." And then we see what happens when he is impatient or whatever, and tries to, go to this random, I guess, hookup that his brother has made, and we see what happens there and how that could have been a very awkward and weird first time. So yeah, it was. Yeah, it's talked about in kind of a roundabout way, but yeah, that's the idea that the way we as males can perceive other males or like react to information, such as a friend being a virgin or whatever the case is at a late age, is can be toxic. So like I can say like in high school I didn't lose my virginity, right? And I remember the senior year, and we were like in class and we were like talking. We were doing like I think truth or dare or something. I forgot. And it
Okay.
was all guys, right? And this kid asked me, and he asked me some question related to sex. He didn't ask if I was a virgin. The question was like assuming that I wasn't, right? Which
Mm.
I was like, oh, cool. Like, good for you for assuming I'm not. But like, and I was all like, oh no, I'm a virgin. I'll never forget his face. He was like, really? And it was like a weird kind of confused, like how, like wait, what, like, and I don't think it was like you don't look like one. It was more so like a like what, like why. And I just remember
Mm.
then going like, well, now I don't feel that very comfortable telling people,
Mm-hmm.
at that time. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's the ultimate theme, I guess.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, we are nearing the end of our stream soon. It was a bit of a quick interview. Um, amazing
Great interview.
film. It's an
Thank you.
amazing film. I do have to say, and like I said in the beginning of the stream, I wanted to make sure that I highlight, Black excellence in this month, and just honestly every month. Let's be honest now, like
Yeah.
let's be real.
There
Let's
we go.
be
Yeah,
real. All right.
absolutely. Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about what you would say to like a 15-year-old, 16-year-old that may be exploring like film and things of that nature. But what
Yeah.
would you say to those that are in this kind of like group, in this nest, like these other aspiring filmmakers, these other aspiring DPs and actors that are going through it, and especially right now that COVID has, I know that we're like emerging out of it.
Yeah.
All of that is kind of up in the air. We don't know if we really are
Yeah.
emerging from it or not. But the fact of the matter is that COVID has impacted us very, very hard.
Yeah.
And what would you say to those that are kind of like still going onto the craft, but let's be honest, still doubting themselves, maybe even more so now, because us as performers, we tend to really doubt ourselves. We tend to be very over analytical about ourselves,
Yeah.
Debbie Downers about ourselves. So what would you say to this group of people?
Well, one, I'm the same way. And two, I'm not about to list this off to flex. It's gonna circle around to a good reason. But this film was completed like middle of January, and we are now in 16 festivals and have 5 or 6 awards. And I assure you, every step of the way, I was like, this is a stupid movie. No one's gonna like every step of the way. From writing, I was like, this is stupid. Once we started rehearsal, I was like, this is stupid. Once we like were even even though yeah, there's moments where you're like, oh yeah, this like rehearsal's going great, but then like I'll go home and be like, this is gonna be a disaster, like there was always those thoughts, and even even now, like I said, we have all these festivals and we got some awards and we have our premiere coming up March 5th, and I'm still like, audience gonna hate it. Like my friend, like my friends and family are gonna be like, this is like stupid. Like and that's normal. So it's like when I have those thoughts, I'm just aware that like, hey, because it's anxiety a lot of times too, at least with me feeling pressure for the screening. The worst of what I'm thinking isn't going to happen. Like the worst is like every single person is going to like hate it and they're going to walk out, right? It's not going to be the case, right? That much I know. But yeah, making films, making any kind of art is difficult, man. Like I in 2017 I had released a short. It was like about a black superhero, and after that, for like the next 3 years, I was kind of like depressed and I couldn't release anything, and like I wasn't writing as much. I wasn't shooting. I think I tried to shoot a short film, but it didn't work out because of like the people I ended up casting and working with. It was just a mess. So I was depressed, and then I was adding to the depression because I wasn't like able to. So I love making films. I wasn't able to like put out anything. So 2020, I had like a major. Everybody in 2020 had a major shift with COVID, but I feel like COVID also affects a lot of personal things. And I had just got this like bad relationship and like had like these friendships, and like I was really in a place where I was like, I don't like, my life is different. And I was like, I haven't released a film in 3 years. I'm gonna write something short and simple, shoot it with almost no budget, just to see if like is this still what I want to do? Is it still in me? And I shot a film called Please Say Anything, which was like 7 minutes, I think. It was no crew, just me, the cameraman, a few actors. And I absolutely love the movie for the reason that it like reignited like, oh, this is like, it's in my blood. Like there's no, if I for whatever reason, which I hope not, go another 3 years without shooting something, it's okay. Like it's in my blood. So that was made just as like I need to remind myself I can do this. And the 20-year version was like, now I need to like remind myself that like I'm to elevate. Like I'm even better than that film. So now I need to really prove and show to myself, by the way, no one else, prove and show to myself that like I'm much better now too as a filmmaker. So
Yeah, because ultimately we're not in competition with other people. We're in competition with ourselves
at
at the
all,
end of the
yeah.
day.
And
And
that's
when
also,
you're in a healthy relationship with yourself,
yeah, which is hard too, because self comparison is like social media makes self comparison such an easy thing. So, and I fall victim to that sometimes too. But yeah, as long as you're trying to prove something to yourself or improve yourself, then that's the correct mindset.
All right. Well, before we close out, thank you to Titan for moderating the chat. And for those that have been on the chat stream, he did obviously drop the premiere tickets, the link in there for the Eventbrite. So tell us a little bit about what can we look forward to that day. What day is it actually? I can't see it in the description.
Yeah, March 5th. March 5th at the Maryland Monroe Theater in West Hollywood. The theater is inside the Lee Strasberg Institute. It's my first time using this venue as a screening. The venue I was using before shut down, fucking COVID. But yeah, we're gonna have like a red carpet. I believe we're still working on having like a like liquor kind of being sold or some wine or whatever the case is. But yeah, from like 6 to 7 be red carpet and arrivals. Everybody just coming and mingling and take some photos on the red carpet if you want. At 7 the film will start screening. It's a black event, so it probably won't be 7 on time, but like 7 to 7:20 or something.
Because black folk and Mexican folk, Hispanic folk,
never. Yeah,
you say 7,
never.
the party starts at 7. Homies show up at like 8 or 9.
I'm sure the actors are gonna be pulling up at 7. I'm be like, you're in the movie. Why are you like so late? Like, so once the film is screened, then afterwards we'll have a Q&A with myself, the crew, and the cast, and we're gonna have a host. And
I read the notes. I'm gonna be the host. Just FYI, y'all.
You know what's interesting?
I'm just kidding.
Because I could ask her off, but I was as I said, we're gonna have a host. I'm thinking we still need to get one. I'm looking for people, and then as I was saying that, I was like, oh hey, you're great. So
I appreciate that.
if you want or willing to, I don't know if you are. If not, we can talk.
Oh yeah, we can talk about it. I think it'd be a great experience.
Yes, because I want someone, like someone suggested someone, but then I was like, I feel like it'd be better if it's someone that the film's for everybody, because like the cast and crew, but I feel like it'd be better for someone that I know personally, because then it just makes the hosting the questions better, and the questions you asked today were great. So
thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Well, again, the Eventbrite is on the chat, and what I'll be doing is I'll be taking a clip from our interview right now, and posting it on Instagram tomorrow, on Instagram and Twitter, and along with that, tagging the Eventbrite link as well, so people can go ahead and buy their tickets now. So Whack Snack said, hell yeah, he's gonna go ahead and check it out. So looking forward to seeing him there. So Jalen, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. Again, you have been, it has been an honor to be your friend, and an honor to be able to see the growth, both personally and professionally, just being able to see you as a young man grow into this old man.
I am old, yeah.
But along with that growth, along with that age, your work, your craft has elevated to a point where I really thought I was watching a sitcom. I thought I was like watching something on Hulu or or Peacock or something, and
That's
I'm like,
one of the best compliment I've heard so far about the film. Thank you. That was really thank you.
So I'm excited for what's in store for this film, at the red carpet, and then the future implications for the film, and just your future. So again, follow Jalen on Instagram. It's on the chat. Ladies, if you're watching and you're single, holler at him. Again, Dummy Thick.
Again, if you're thick. Not, you can be, it's if you're just thick, that's fine. But I want it to be
as the homie Wax Snack said, dummy thick.
There you go. Dummy thick works. If you can't
love it.
Dummy thick works. I appreciate you. So love, bro. I've always appreciated you since we met. So I thank you for having me on the podcast. It was fun. You truly, truly great questions. So yeah. All
right. With that being said, Wax Snack said, a man of culture. And I believe that definitely defines you. So
absolutely.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and go on mute. Thank you guys for watching. And I'll be back to Twitch streaming probably tomorrow or the day after. Probably doing some Pokemon. We'll see. Where I land in the gaming. So again, shout out to Titan for moderating, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.